Let's take a look at some of the new and improved functionality in the quotes and sales orders modules. In relation to stock control, we've got a new option to look at a standard view and a stock view in both quotes and sales orders. So for example, here we've got a sales order to a customer with a particular product, and the standard view will show you areas like the quantity that's been shipped and the balance, and the quantity that's been invoiced and the balance. But also if we click on stock view, we can see then additional information like the quantity in stock, what's available, which takes into account any current sales orders, what's currently on purchase orders as well. We can create purchase orders from here. Also, if you track stock at multiple locations, in quotes and sales orders and in other modules, you can specify what's the location that this stock is going to be coming out of. That can also be defaulted based on your identity as well. And if you've got the access privilege, you can change the stock location on a transaction. If we go back into quotes, we'll take a quick look at the new and improved request for quote related functionality. So previously, the RFQ functionality was referred to as estimate requests, and you used to have the ability also to click in here at a line item level and create an estimate request relating to a line item on a quote, linking it to a supplier, and you can enter in details for the request for quote as well, enter in tender deadlines, supplier quote ref, their price they come back with, etc. So now we've got additional functionality added. So if we click on return, and then if we go back to the actual quotation itself, you could have multiple requests for quotes linked to different line items on this quotation. And there's a new RFQ tab, and in here we can see all the different RFQs for various line items on this quotation, where you can also print all the RFQs together based on supplier, and we can also sort by supplier in here or the quote line. So this just means that the RFQs that are linked to the line item level, that they're not buried at the line item level in here, but you've got full access to everything from within the new RFQ tab as well. Also, if we have a look at the supplier screen, go into company, and if we pull up that supplier, and we've got a new RFQ tab at the supplier level. So in here then we can see any previous RFQs that have been created in relation to the supplier, and we can click on them by clicking on the arrow. If we go back to the quote or sales orders, we can see that we have the ability to create purchase orders from a quote or a sales order, and the user is asked if they'd like to use the minimum order quantity if one is entered for a product and it is greater than the quantity on the line item. So it's the sales order line item level as well. There's now a separate quantity invoiced column in addition to the quantity shipped column. Previously there was just a quantity shipped column, and this was set either on part invoicing, shipping, or both. This used to be a bit more confusing if someone just part invoiced and they did not have the ability to go back and part ship for the same items. Now there are two versions of the back orders report as well, one for sales orders to be invoiced and one for sales orders to be shipped or part invoiced or shipped. The invoice and ship tab also has more information and options on it than it used to have. There's also a new preference in setup to auto set the status of a sales order to complete once it has been fully invoiced and shipped. The options are no, as in not to auto complete it, yes, or ask the user. Let's take a look at the new costings level added at the quote line item level in quotes. So we create a new quote, link it to a customer, and we'll add a product. And then if we select a code and we'll pick something here that has assembly items, or basically it's made up of different items. We'll put in a quantity of, say, 5. Now if we look at the costings level of this line item here, we can see that this item is made up of 2 particular items. You can also at this level add additional line items. So instead you can build what makes up a line item from within the costings area here, instead of picking it from a finished product that's been set up in the products module. So let's go back and I'll just give you a quick look at that. If we create a new line and we can put in anything in here that's going to be on the quote that goes to the customer, then if we click on the arrow, and in here then we can add or specify what makes up this line item on the quote. Okay, so we can either create a blank line in here and manually enter in some details and costs, or we can link to a specific product or products coming from the product module. So let's say a blank line, and we can type in anything we like, put in a unit of 1, cost price, and then we can also do things like add from a specific product. And if we select a product that is also made up of costings or a bill of materials, it'll then ask you, do you want to separate out the costings in here or use the finished product? So if we say the costings, it'll add in the 2 items that are linked to that particular product. But if we were to do it the other way, we'll select a product again and select the same product, and in this case we'll select finished, and it just adds in the 1 line which is the finished item. So basically in here we can specify what makes up this line item on the quote. So we return back, and if we put then in a quantity on this line item, say 2, it'll give you your cost price based on all the breakdown of the costings we've specified at the costings level. You'll also notice that we've added markup and margin at the line item level of the quotations. And there's also the ability to do a pro forma or a pro forma invoice in the quotations module. From a stock location point of view, if the user is allowed, they can change the identity on a quote and then also the stock location on a quote, and that all follows through to a sales order if you create a sales order from a quote. One of the big areas of new functionality in sales orders is the ability to split out the shipping and invoicing sections and functionality from sales orders. So for every sales order you know what has been shipped or what needs to be shipped, and the same on the invoicing side. So new functionality in the sales invoices and the shipping modules tie in very much with sales orders as well. More information on all that new functionality is covered in other video tutorials.